Everybody, John Sodians here, and welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Sundays, Mondays. This week we're gonna be talking about Mercury shifting into Sagittarius, and we're also gonna be talking about the new full moon in Gemini. All right, so Mercury shifts into Sagittarius this Tuesday, and there's also a full moon in Gemini on the 12th, which is this Thursday. Check your time zones, please. Now, let's talk a little bit about what all of this means for you guys. Mercury influences the way that we communicate, how we perceive ideas, how we create ideas. It's been in Scorpio for quite some time now, where it was really intense. We also had the Mercury retrograde, so it was really emotional for a lot of us, and a lot of like past wounds came up. It also challenged us to really reflect and dive deep into our emotions, the things that were bothering us, the things that were hurting us for the past year. Now that it's going to go into Sagittarius, it's going to be quite the opposite of that, where it's going to be more of a positive change for us. We're going to be feeling more motivated, more inspired to take action. We're also going to be a little more commitment phobic to things too. So, trying to get organized may be very challenging for some people, but it's going to give us that aggression, that fire, that passion back. So, where Scorpio kind of washed that all away because we had to deal with things that were internalized, Sagittarius will be the things that we're going to focus on externally. So, it's taking our passions and really driving it, right? We're going to get back on the horse. That's what it is. And if you don't already know, Sagittarius is a centaur, so it's half horse, half man. So it's really befitting that we become the rider of our life, right? Rider, as in riding a horse. And we really just find the strength to continue moving forward in the right path. And this is all about self discovery, really, because Sagittarius is. Well, I want to say Sagittarius is a dreamer. They're not really a dreamer per se. They're more of just like, let's see what works out there. They like to, just like Gemini, they like to experiment. They like to get their hands dirty. They really want to try anything once, right? So, this is a good time to really explore your options, okay? Exploring different options, maybe new options for you, something that can help you expand yourself. Remember, Sagittarius is very philosophical. So, you're going to really find yourself trying to find different types of meaning in your life, right? Trying to justify some of your actions, whether it's good or bad. It's all about expanding your mentality and being an open minded, open book type of person. And this is the way that Sagittarians think. They're very blunt, they're very, forward about how they think, how they feel. And you're going to find a lot of people doing that as well, like just being very expressive during this time. And it's really just ripping things off like a band-aid. Okay, they're not the most sensitive. So Scorpio, Mercury being in Scorpio, was a very sensitive time for a lot of people. I felt like a lot of people were trying to watch out what they were saying, and if they didn't, it came out, and it was just, it hurt your soul, right? People were out to cut people. But with Sagittarius, there's no malicious intent behind it, if that makes sense. It's more of just blurting things out. So you're gonna have to watch out for that too, because sometimes they just don't think before they speak, and you could find yourself doing the same thing too. You're just blurting things out because you're just speaking out loud. Basically, it's the same thing as Gemini. They're very similar, and plus they're polar opposites in astrology as well, so they have a lot of similar traits, which brings me to my next point. We are having a full moon under Gemini this Thursday. And when we think of the full moon, remember, it's the most powerful time to really empower yourself, empower your intent, empower your goals in life. Okay. It's about really refining what intent you had during the last new moon, which was in Sagittarius last month. So, reflecting during this time is very important for people. But let's talk a little bit about how Gemini influences this full moon. Okay. So, let's go. Gemini Gemini is a mutable air sign. Sagittarius is also a mutable fire sign. So we have two mutable zodiac signs that are coming up in two different placements, the moon and Mercury, okay? A full moon in Gemini means it's time to get really creative with your intent. Geminis are known for this. They're masterminds when it comes to thinking outside the box or coloring outside of the lines, okay? It's time to get out of your comfort zone. And mixed with the Sagittarius Mercury, this is also a time where you can get a little bit rebellious too, and in a good way, okay, in a good way. But you may find other people using it for bad. I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to the individual. You may also feel like, you need to stand up for yourself. You need to stand up for some kind of freedom in your life. You may have felt very suffocated with this Mercury and Scorpio. So now it's time to just breathe again, to get out, to go outside, even, and just even going outside spiritually with yourself, mentally or even emotionally with yourself or with somebody else. Okay. This is also a time where expressing yourself will be very important. If you've internalized everything because of that Mercury and Scorpio, this is a time where you need to lay everything out on the table for anybody who, you've been having issues with. So, building your intent under this full moon should be more of a positive and productive phase in your life or a phase of this year. It's kind of just continue wrapping up all these loose ends. Like you already went through the Mercury retrograde, okay? You survived it. You're good. You're good now. Now it's time to really just think about 2020, thinking about the future you and all the fun things that you want to incorporate into your life, okay? Go outside and do something different, and when I say outside, I mean spiritually, mentally, emotionally, do something different. Go on an adventure with yourself and commit to that. We have Sagittarius and Gemini here, and they tend to be more procrastinators. They love to procrastinate, or they can be very commitment phobic. And this is one of those times where it's going to kind of challenge that, whatever intent you put out there. Are you going to procrastinate on it, or is it going to live in your head, or are you actually going to do something about it? And that's where Mercury and Sagittarius, rides in and kind of saves the day for you. Like, look, we have to have faith in ourselves, faith in our experience, or even inexperiences. Okay. You may find new opportunities in 2020, and you can't be afraid of them. You can't be afraid of success. You can't be afraid of change. You can't be afraid of yourself. And having that intent before you go into the new year will be very important for you. Trust me when I say this. Okay. And now that we know Jupiter, if you listened to my podcast last week, now you know Jupiter is in Capricorn where it's hitting us financially. You have to get creative with yourself, or you're going to stay in the same rut that you're in, right? You're going to stay on the same level that you're on. You want to elevate yourself by elevating your way of thought, way of manifesting, way of just everything in yourself. But really, it starts with the core, your center energy, your center self. It's the way you look at yourself, it's the way you feel about yourself, it's the way you think about yourself. This isn't a time to be negative or harsh or mean to yourself either. Like, you need to get over that. Get back on that horse. Okay. You know how to ride it. Get back on that horse. Believe in yourself. Believe that you can learn something along the way. If anything, you're going to learn something new. So why be afraid of the journey? You shouldn't be afraid of that, okay? You know that you're going to go somewhere new in life. And the only way to explore these new things, the only way to live life is to really put yourself out there. So if you continue hiding in your little corner, you're never going to get anywhere. If you continue to say bad things to yourself, guess what? You're never going to love yourself enough. It's never going to be enough for you. Okay. And I get that we all go through those dark phases in and out throughout the year. Everybody does it. Nobody is perfect, but it's all about getting back on that horse. Okay. You fell off. You could cry about it a little bit, but get your ass back on that and move forward. Okay. And that's what Mercury and Sagittarius is going to teach you. And that's what having this full moon in Gemini is going to illuminate in your life, is going to shed light on the things that need more creative thought, or more creative solutions, rather. So, whatever you're dealing with in life right now, remember there's a solution for everything. It's up to you to choose that solution. It's up to you to find the solution to things. A lot of people out here just love to complain. They love to hear their voice complaining. They love to be negative. They love to just not have opportunities. And I'll never understand that. I'll never understand that. They just talk their way out of a good opportunity, they talk their way out of success. And you have to ask yourself now, are you one of those people? Are you going to take a chance on yourself? Do you believe in yourself? Do you love yourself enough to invest energy into yourself? Okay. And that's what you need to do under this full moon in Gemini, is to really think about all of the creative things that you're meant to do in this world. And I've tried to tell people this before, but if we are made in the likeness of God and God is the creator, therefore you are also meant to create. It is our life purpose to create something or even someone. Some people's life purpose is to be a mother, a father, to be a parent, a provider, to create, to build, whether it's like graphic design or whether you're actually an architect or whether you're just creating something. And that's where a lot of people fail to realize that they are meant to be a creator in some way, shape, or form. Okay. Does that make sense to you? You may not own a business. You may not want to own a business. You may not want to physically create art, but everybody sits there on their desk or in their desk and they want to manage something. They want to have creative solutions to something. They want to have input. Nobody wants to be a zombie. Nobody wants to feel like a robot. Nobody wants to feel unappreciated. Everybody wants to create. And so I'm going to leave you with that. Think about what you can create in your life, things that you want to manifest for 2020, and do it under this full moon in Gemini. I mean, you still have the rest of this month to really think about it. So I always tell people, like, you don't have to do everything right then and there under that full moon, but it's a good starting point. Okay. It's always a good starting point. And if you're not reflecting on yourself or reflecting on things that you need to do in the new year and the new month and the new day, I don't know how you live life. Every day I do to-do list. And maybe it's just the workaholic in me, but I can't, like, I'm Sagittarius, okay, on the cusp of Scorpio. I know myself well enough that I know I procrastinate sometimes. Sometimes I just don't want to do things. We all feel that way, right? But trying to find a commitment and routine is very difficult for me to be very consistent. Without a to-do list, I am nothing in life. Like, I need to write everything down and tell myself, okay, we're doing this today. We're doing it this week. We're doing it this month. Otherwise, I can't commit to it. It's just very hard for me, man. This is why when people invite me out, I'm like, I love the option of you inviting me, but I like the option of saying no. But I still want to feel like I'm your friend, so just invite me anyways. Social anxiety. But I'll leave you with that, you guys. You guys have a good week. I will talk to you next week, and if I don't, then happy holidays. Okay, bye.